It's ClipperBlog Live. Merry Christmas, everyone. Fred Katz here after what was certainly the Clippers' best win of the season, even if it did come with Andrew Bogut in a suit and tie on the bench. A 100-86 Christmas win over the now 23-5 Golden State Warriors. The Clippers improved to 20-10 on the season after shooting only 19% in the first quarter, starting off 1 for 17 in the game. Joining me on the show today, Chris, I don't know if you're drinking eggnog or what that is, Law Murray.
This is Abuelita hot chocolate. I don't even know what that is, but it tastes awesome. Whipped cream. It's Christmas, and I don't have Spencer Hall's holiday suit, but that's the next best thing right there.
That sounds incredible. That sounds amazing.
Oh, yeah.
You don't understand. I'm on like the most horrible. Did I tell you the Steve Nash diet that I'm on right now? It's dreadful. I keep telling you, every time Ben Messerow writes ClipperBlog Eats, it kills me because it's nothing that I can eat, and I have to go through and edit it every time, and I'm like dying because I'm salivating as I read ClipperBlog, which is an experience I've never had before. But I'm not eating red meat, I'm not eating sugar, I'm not eating carbs, and I'm not eating dairy for the most part, and it is just destroying me from the inside out mentally. It's just killing me. And the fact that you're drinking hot chocolate in front of me is just unkind.
What was the point of this diet again?
To lose weight. to lose college weight, I guess.
Okay.
And going to all extremes, because why the hell not? And that's the move. Isn't that the Steve Nash diet? I think that's the Steve Nash diet.
I don't know.
Eats red meat, I think.
I've never heard of the Steve Nash diet, and if you feeling like that, then I'm not sure I want to hear about it.
Oh yeah, Steve Nash. I think Steve Nash doesn't eat. I know he doesn't eat sugar. He never eats sugar. He hasn't had sugar in years. I don't know about. I'm pretty sure he doesn't eat carbs as well. I'm sure he eats red meat though. But yeah, I'm pretty sure he does not. I know for a fact that he does not eat sugar at any point in his diet. Which is
that why he sounds like Batman?
That's why he was able to be good till 38 probably. Steve Nash was like 38 years old, so that probably helps. I figured maybe I will be as good as Steve Nash if I do this. Like there's still a chance. I'm not necessarily at my basketball playing prime yet. I did hit a 3 in a game last month, which was a really nice progress for me, and I want to keep that up.
All right. Well.
So let's get to this. The Clippers, like I said, a huge win for them, even if Bogut wasn't there. Shot 19% in the first quarter. DeAndre Jordan had a dunk on the first play of the game. And after that, the Clippers missed 16 shots in a row and started 1 for 17 until I believe Jamal Crawford hit a Jamal Crawford-esque contested fadeaway jumper, which, by the by, fun fact, Jamal Crawford has a better shooting percentage on contested jumpers this year than he does on wide-open jumpers, according to NBA.com, which is so Jamal Crawford-like. How are the Clippers able to come back and turn that around completely? I mean, obviously the offensive numbers at the end of the game weren't very good, but they ended up blowing them out and winning this game by 14.
Well, the first thing that happened was Golden State didn't take advantage of the poor Clippers shooting performance, and they came out and they were kind of flat as well. The turnovers that Golden State is trying to get away from still cropped up. That was a problem. And once the second half hit, the Clippers' mindset changed. And I read something a while back. If the field goal percentage disparity is wide, but the margin is slim, then that's bad news for the team that shot better in the first half, because usually the percentages even out over the course of the game, and the advantage can, in those cases, go to the team that struggled in the first half. And we saw that. I mean, when you shoot that poorly, you're supposed to get blown out quick. And especially for Golden State being on the road, it was important that they take advantage of it. And it was clear that the funk from Tuesday night's game in Staples Center, it rolled over to tonight. And I know that you mentioned Andrew Bogut not being there, but you know what? The other guys who played they have a role on this team. They played without Andrew Bogut before. They better get used to playing without Andrew Bogut because you can't count on Andrew Bogut to stay healthy anyway. And they didn't have Festus Ezeli tonight either. But again, Festus Ezeli wasn't there all last year. This was like a Game 7 situation where you got to just find guys that were not playing before playing tonight, or having a guy like Maurice Space starting at center. Bottom line is, LA hung around. They played really sound defense. They forced turnovers. My player of the game is Blake Griffin. He hit the glass again. Every time I'm on ClipperBlog Live, it's because Blake Griffin gets about 15 rebounds. And he played tough. He was challenged by Draymond Green, and he got to the line and he got boards, and they outlasted Golden State at home.
Yeah, Blake was hitting the boards the whole game. He had 9 in the first half, but also Blake's passing lately. I mean, I don't know what the numbers are at after tonight, but in his previous 6 games, I believe, Blake was averaging 7 assists per game. He had 6 more tonight. He didn't shoot well, 5 for 16, but I think it's become pretty apparent that the best Blake Griffin defender in the league is Draymond Green. He's so good at pushing Blake out of the paint before he gets the ball and making him uncomfortable in that sense that Blake ends up resorting to mid-range shots and fall-away turnaround, shots out of the post. And he had some really nice moves against Green tonight. He had a particularly nice and one, but Draymond keeps him super inefficient. He's great at that. And I think part of the reason why Draymond is so good against Blake is because I think you can make a legitimate argument he's the best defender in the NBA right now. He's at the very least the most versatile because he's just able to guard 5 positions at any given, he'll guard 5 guys in a quarter. So that certainly has something to do with it. But he's got all the traits that made Blake struggle so much against Chuck Hayes. Blake never does well against Chuck Hayes, who's a really good post defender. And Draymond is like that, but just a million times better. Plus the quickness and versatility that he's got there as well. But yeah, Blake's passing and facilitating the last 6 or 7 games, he's always obviously been an excellent passer, but it's been happening more. The facilitating's been happening more, and I'm just very interested to see if he's going to be how this continues. Like, could he be a 6 assist guy? Do you think that's a possibility as a power forward? Do you think that's possible?
Oh, it's absolutely possible. I mean, it's not just the fact that he makes the right pass and guys make shots. It's the fact that, number one, he can handle the ball straight from the rebound. So that's another opportunity when your usage is up from a full court transition game instead of just being confined to the half court. It means that you will have more opportunities to make more plays. Second of all, I have to check to see if this is the first time that Blake Griffin has ever had more assists in a game than Chris Paul. That is a big deal to me. I've never really seen that before, and the fact that the Clippers are playing so much through both of those guys, but obviously especially Blake Griffin, it means that you're in a situation where, again, you can just find guys. I mean, Blake can hit the 4 to the 5 pass, he can hit his shooters, and obviously, again, he can run in transition. So, we'll see where the development goes. We'll see what kind of players that Blake Griffin winds up playing with, but he's a unique player as far as his ability to find guys, and it does stand out on a night like tonight.
So we talked a lot about the offense, kind of how they came back and regression to the mean in a positive sense in this case. The defense was really good. I mean, this is, Golden State is, everyone knows how good their offense is. People maybe don't know how good their defense is. That's the number 1 ranked defensive team in the league right now in terms of points allowed per possession. But their offense is really good. I think they're number 1 shooting team in the league right now. They're top 5 or 6 in points per possession right now. I mean, that's in, Klay Thompson and Curry and the way they move the ball. They have so many great passers. It's a gorgeous offense, and the Clippers held them to 86 points. They held them to 42% from the field and 6 for 28 from 3. Now, granted, 12 for 22 at the free throw line was not exactly on the Clippers for Golden State, but what did the Clippers do tonight that made them so effective and even held Stephen Curry to just 12 shots?
I think one of the biggest things, I mean, as much as people love Golden State's offense, they still turn the ball over. And Golden State they were careless in a lot of phases. You saw Andre Iguodala, for example. It wasn't a turnover, but he missed a wide open dunk in transition in the first half. Golden State just they were sloppy, and the one thing that Los Angeles has always been able to do under Doc Rivers is close out on the threes. And as well as Golden State shoots the three, they struggle with that shot tonight. I think Curry and Thompson combined to hit only about 3 of 15 from downtown. That's outstanding. Just the rotations for the most part were sharp. Guys had their hands in the passing lane, and the rebounding advantage was there as well. And so, again, I think you look at a guy like Steph. I think Steph Curry was just too in between, trying to run the offense, make plays, and take advantage of certain matchups. And the Clippers were ready, especially after the disaster that was the game in November. I think the Clippers were just a lot more prepared defensively, even if their offense took a half to catch up.
Yeah, the Clippers play well against Steph Curry, and they did today what they did a lot during that playoff series last year that went 7 games, and they pressured Curry hard when he dribbled around screens, and that's basically just a way to deter him from dribbling more, because Steph Curry is an unbelievable shooter. Everyone knows that. And he's amazing at shooting off the dribble. Everyone knows that. But he's also phenomenal at getting to the rim. He's got those crafty floater moves that bring him so much success. He's a really, really, really good passer, which people don't necessarily talk a lot about because his shooting is just so overwhelmingly phenomenal that the passing ends up falling down the line to things you talk about with Curry. But he's one of the best passing point guards in the league, no question. And he had some wonderful passes tonight. The thing is, when you pressure him hard and blitz him hard on those pick and rolls, and you send 2 guys at him, Clippers play a pretty aggressive pick and roll strategy anyway. And tonight they just, like you said, they hit the rotations a lot more timely. Not so much in the first half. The first half there were a lot of missed open shots. Clay missed some good opportunities from 3. He was clearly off tonight. Golden State missed some good opportunities to find an open man when the Clippers didn't rotate in time, which maybe the Spurs and the Hawks actually did hit those opportunities in the last couple of games. So that's certainly something that's more on the Warriors than the Clippers. But the second half, the Clippers were maybe more active than we've seen them on defense. And I don't want to say all season because I don't know for sure, and I've probably forgotten about some quarter or half. There was a really good third quarter against Phoenix in the first Phoenix game where they were excellent defensively, but they were a long time. It's been a long time since they've looked this active on the defensive end. DeAndre had a really bad defensive first half. He was getting beat on backline cuts all the time. He was rotating late to guys who were going to help. He was rotating late to those men, and he had a really, really struggling first half and then totally turned around in the second half. He was way better. It wasn't that he was more active. DeAndre is always active, and he's always playing super, super hard. It's just that he's sometimes late in recognizing where to be. And in the second half, he was just so much more aware. And I think when DeAndre is going well, that Clipper defense just everyone just kind of starts to respond to that. They move more confidently. They move more decisively. And we saw that a lot. Matt Barnes had a particularly good second half as well. They did a good job. And playing Curry off the ball is a nice guard for Chris Paul. It helps Chris Paul a lot because he was doing a really good job running around screens and chasing him off the ball. Paul's super good at that. So I think that helped a lot as well. I mean, how much of it tonight do you think was the Warriors not shooting well or the Clippers actually executing well on D?
I think, honestly, I really do think the Clippers just played really well. I mean, a lot of it was the Warriors just, they missed shots. But here's the thing about Golden State. Again, their offense, as good as it is, when they don't make shots, it really isn't that good anymore. They don't have a lot of a backup. They turn the ball over. They play small already, so when you miss shots, it's not like they're getting second opportunities, And then you got to factor in, here's how Clay and Steph play. They have Steph is an outstanding ball handler, can make any pass, make a lot of plays, and obviously Clay is a bigger guard who has a post game. He's got a little bit more going to the basket, but when those guys do not consistently get to the line. So again, when their shots are off, they're not getting a whole lot of points coming from elsewhere. The Clippers also did a fairly decent job of taking care of the basketball tonight. A fairly decent job because, again, Blake had 5 turnovers, a lot of them unforced, silly errors. But the transition game wasn't always there. Golden State's one of the best in the league at getting out, running, and finishing. So I really do believe that, especially considering how horrible they started, Los Angeles really came out and they stayed pretty in the game. They stayed focused, and I think you have to give the winning team credit here. I mean, we've had these conversations before about, did the team play well or did the other team just kind of drop the ball? I mean, this was a good game for LA, and one that I thought for a while was like, man, they shouldn't be in it. You saw in that second half, you saw the better team win that game. It wasn't. I don't think this was a fluke. I think this was a very strong performance from a team that got better as the game went on.
Something I'm also curious to know your opinion on. Tonight, Doc Rivers kind of shook up his rotations. He said he called out his subs big time after that Atlanta game when he was asked why the Clippers let a 13-point lead against Atlanta slip away on Tuesday night. He said something along the lines of, I had to make substitutions or something like that. Clearly calling out how bad the bench has been. The bench has been really, really, really bad this year, and we all know that. Tonight, he shook it up. Blake Griffin started the fourth quarter playing with the bench unit. At the 9-minute marker, Blake came out. DeAndre Jordan came in for him. That didn't exactly leave the Clippers with the most wonderful offensive unit on the floor with only Jamal as a scorer, but DeAndre's been playing with the second unit a little bit. Blake now got those opportunities. At some point, they're always having a high-impact either defensive or offensive starter on the floor with the bench unit tonight, and that was something we haven't really seen. How do you feel about Doc shaking up those rotations? Is that a proper move? Is it a necessary move considering how bad the bench has been?
Well, Doc is the coach. His job is to find the right lineups to give his team the best chance to win. So they won tonight. He's got to keep doing it. And that's why you'd rather trust someone like Doc Rivers than, some other coaches with certain rotations, with communicating with guys, with finding out what the right matchups to play are. He's playing with a short deck. A Tribe Called Bench was a long time ago, and it's really a shame. Hey, the Clippers do need Spencer Hawes, not because Hawes is playing lights out basketball, but because they need to get Griffin and Jordan's minutes down somewhat. It's really early in the season to have those guys playing high 30s, 40 minutes a night, and I think we talked about this before. Eventually, it's going to come back and hurt them. It sucks that Epi Udoh can't play with 10 minutes a night. Sucks that Glenn Davis can't play 20 minutes a night. Sucks that Hedo Turkoglu really shouldn't be playing at all, but he's had to play. He didn't play tonight. But, against quality competition, Doc has to pretty much pull out all the stops. It worked tonight, but, man, they're really stretching some guys out. And that's not Doc's problem as a coach, and that's, there's been plenty of us ClipperBlog people who feel a certain way about that.
Yeah, I'm very happy about actually Doc switching up the rotations. I think, we say it all the time on this show that for really good teams, you use the regular season as a testing ground. You use it as a way to find out what works and doesn't work. And I'm all for a lot of coaches like going to lineups they're comfortable with, building up those minutes for those 5-man lineups, letting them build chemistry because the more they play together, the more chemistry they can have. And that's a perfectly viable strategy, and I totally get that. I'm more for the Popovichian side, where you play as many lineups as you possibly can during the regular season, and you just study the film and you study what happens. And if you see anything spark between any two particular players, then you mend those lineups and you see how it works. And then after 82 games, when you're in the postseason, then all of a sudden you kind of have a better idea of what you're going to go with, and maybe you've discovered even one lineup that you think works against a particular type of competition that you can now throw out in the first or second round or the conference final or whatever that you can bring out, which you only played 9 minutes during the regular season, and it might work because you saw that and you saw it work against a particular style lineup. And so I'm kind of all for experimenting, especially considering it's not like he's messing up a good thing right now. I mean, the bench was good tonight. Crawford played particularly well tonight. He had a really good game. But it's not like he's, trying to fix something that isn't broken. It's totally broken, especially with Hawes injured right now. Almost as broken as that suit, that awful suit. Man.
Good Lord.
It looked like wrapping paper.
It totally was. He must have been like on a layaway or something tonight.
How much do you think he paid for that? Like how much? Because keep in mind you've probably got to get suits custom made when you're 7 feet, right? So how much did he pay to get that suit custom made?
Oh God, I don't even want to speculate. That's an injured suit, and I don't want to speculate, Fred. I want to have respect for what might have gone down in his head when he made that investment.
That suit does not call for respect. I'm all for respecting people who deserve that, but that suit was ridiculous. He looked absurd.
Yeah, I'm trying to keep politics out of it. I'm not sure if that was fiscally conservative though on Spencer's part.
Oh my God! If he wears that again at any point in his life, like I don't know what has gone wrong in that man's journey through the years.
Real talk. He gonna have a addendum made to the dress code. That's what's gonna happen. That disrespectful suit.
That's like, imagine. You know what I was thinking about? Imagine if Allen Iverson wore something like that. There'd be a rule the next day, right?
Oh my God, he wouldn't escape it. He wouldn't escape it. It could be completely league sponsored, and it would still be, at the very least, a press conference. We talking about a suit. We talking about a suit. We're not talking about the uniform. We talking about the suit.
Let's talk. I want to take a question quickly from our buddy Alfredo Rodriguez. The Clippers have never lost 3 games in a row since Doc Rivers took over. How have they avoided 3-game losing streaks so effectively? Can limiting your losses be considered a form of consistency with so many inconsistencies that exist within the system and the roster? I'm just going to let you take this one.
That's verbatim, too, right? You didn't paraphrase that or anything.
No. I read that. That is the question.
Okay, well, I'm going to answer part of the question because that's the only that we're going to go for efficiency here. Losing streaks are the mark of a struggling team, obviously, and the fact is, he brings up a good point about Doc Rivers' team rarely going on extended streaks where they're struggling to get wins. And that's why like y'all worried about. They haven't lost 5 straight games. Hell, didn't the Spurs lose like 4 or 5 games in a row before they beat the Clippers?
Yeah, they lost 4 straight.
Yeah, so I mean, even the damn Spurs, who they haven't been that impressive this year, they struggle. The Clippers, you can't take for granted the fact that this team doesn't lose 5 games in a row anymore. Even the last couple seasons of Vinny Del Negro being here, Vinny did a decent job of, not going on super long losing streaks with the talent that he had. And hell, Vinny was under more pressure than a lock to get fired, And I think that is a sense of consistency where okay, if they lose a game, they'll probably bounce back. If they lose back-to-back games, they are even more likely to bounce back. That is a comforting sign that you can have, and that is a sense of maturity. I think we talked the other time I was on CBL with you, Fred, about emotional maturity, about not picking up stupid technical fouls. Either that or I put it in a last call or observations, whatever. That is a sign of maturity. When you know that you lost or you know that you're about to go into a slump and you turn it around, no matter who you play.
All right, let's take one more question, and then we're gonna. And actually, I'm just gonna ask you one more question. This one is from longtime viewer named Fred Katz. And yes, I'm reverting into third person. I'm gonna read off the Clippers' 9-game homestand right now. The first game was tonight against Golden State. That's obviously a win. Saturday is Toronto, then Utah, Philadelphia, Atlanta, the Lakers, Dallas, and Miami. 9 straight games at home. You should probably rack up a lot of wins. So how many wins do the Clippers need to have in that 9-game span for it to be considered a successful homestand?
Well, let's do a little bit of math here. They're 20-10, right, Fred?
Yeah. You want to go game by game? Is that easier?
Well, hey, I mean, they've won 2 out of every 3 games this year. They should win at least 6. In other words, the rest of the homestand, they should win at least 5 of these next 8 to keep pace of where they're at as a team. However, you're supposed to be better at home than the road, right?
That's what I hear.
Okay. I don't think that the Clippers should be satisfied with less than 7 wins on this homestand. I'm not even kidding. This isn't even me looking at the schedule. I know you just read it off. There are some really good Eastern teams. There are some really not so good teams overall. The Lakers are coming in, so it's not really a home game. You know how those things go. They should win 7 of the 9. They're off to a good start. They beat the Warriors, who they owed them one. So, 2 losses at most.
Yeah, I think there are 5 teams they absolutely should be, and that's Utah, the Knicks, Philadelphia, the Lakers, and Miami. Those have got to be 5 wins right there. So that plus the Golden State win tonight already gets you to 6 wins. So then you got Atlanta, Dallas, and who's the other one I'm forgetting? And Toronto as the other 3. All you got to do is win one of those 3. Toronto doesn't have DeRozan. Atlanta's really good, but the Clippers played them close when they played them on the road. Granted, they were both on back-to-back, so it's a little bit of a different situation. But Atlanta's a really good team. Obviously, Dallas is really good, and we're still learning exactly how good they're going to be with Rondo there. They're still figuring it out, but that game's on January 10th, so Dallas, it'll be a couple weeks after the Rondo deal, a little more than a couple weeks after the Rondo deal. So they'll have a better sense of how they're playing with him, and they'll be gelling a little bit more than they are right now, presumably. But still, I mean, all they got to do is win the games they're supposed to win, and then win one of those 3, which are all obviously home games, and all of a sudden you got a 7 out of 9 homestand. I think you can make an argument the Clippers should win 8 out of 9 if they really want to push in the West. And 28-11, it would be a really nice start for a team that is allegedly struggling.
Oh yeah. I mean, well, again, they're at 30 games into the season, and so after this, we're going to see exactly, if this team is kind of just along last year's pace, or if they're going to be the type of team that maybe gets a couple of postseason series wins. Right now, they look like a second-round team. So we'll see what they do at home.
All right, that's going to do it for the show tonight. Clippers win a huge game against the Warriors and improve to 20-10 on the season. Back with the show Saturday after the Clippers game against the Raptors. That's an early game. It's a matinee scheduled for 12:30 Pacific. For Law Murray, I'm Fred Katz. See you Saturday.